Welcome to Speak for Yourself from the crib. Jason Whitlock, Marcellus, Wiley on Hump Day. Happy Wednesday, America. All right, we have a fantastic show planned for you. Mark Vancil, one of the stars of the Last Dance documentary about the Chicago Bulls 1998 team, and Michael Jordan. Vancil wrote a book about Jordan called Rare Air and worked on several others. We'll pull up at his crib. We'll also pull up with Mark Schlereth and TJ Houshmandzadeh, talk some NFL. We'll also ask, does anybody really want to see Mike Tyson fight again? I don't. But we'll start with the NBA and news reported by our very own Yahoo Sports' Chris Haynes, who reported that Chris Paul, the president of the Players Union, after the conversation Adam Silver had with the players, Chris Paul arranged a conversation among himself and some of the biggest stars in the NBA, including LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, among others, Kawhi Leonard. And the players said they wanted to present a united front that they wanted to continue this season, if at all possible. All right, do you think the top stars in the league, Chris, we'll start with Chris. It was his report. Chris, do you think the top stars in the league are in agreement with the rest of the NBA players that they want to continue this season?
I wouldn't go that far, Jason. I would say that. I'll say that because, I've spoken to a lot of players who aren't currently in the playoff picture. And they feel like, if the season were to restart, just go ahead and start with the playoff teams, the top 8 in each conference. They don't feel like it benefits them at all to come back and be playing because obviously, during this time, during this period, the players who are high up, who are earning a substantial earning, they have the resources to stay in shape, meaning guys who have homes that have a full gym inside the homes, opposed to the other guys that's on minimum salaries who are staying in condos. I mean, Quinn Cook, for one example, he's running laps in his condo in the kitchen to try to stay in shape. And so this is not the united front on all players, but this definitely holds weight that the star players are saying this. And it happens to be most of those players that's the star players are in the playoff picture. And there are CBA implications as well, Whitlock, business decisions as well. But they, at the end of the 45-minute call, they felt, if the safety measures permitted, that it's in their best interest to get out there and play.
Well, I think that the top stars are reflecting what most are thinking, but not all. So I am with you there, Chris, in terms of trying to get the total picture. Let's be real about it. When you feel that pressure from the top, usually you get an insincere response from the bottom. In any situation, when it's strongly suggested or it's inferred or it's implied, whatever you want to look in terms of the read from the top, the ones with the status, the power, the cachet, then you ask everyone else and they usually fall in line. But this situation, so many things to unpack in terms of the teams that are not in playoff contention. They're like, basically, let's move on to next season, but we want to get paid. And then there are the guys who are thinking, hey, how's this going to affect the CBA next year? That population has to be respected. But all in all, there's going to be a lot of FOMO existing right now with a 25, 30-year-old professional basketball player. The fear of missing out of money, fear of missing out on the opportunity, the platform, playoff structure, all those things which they've been sitting there waiting for in full desire. Now it's an opportunity to cash in on that. And if they can't cash in on those opportunities, they know that they're going to take a hit in terms of compensation. So I put myself back in that mindset when I was young, and I'm thinking about a global pandemic, that how would it affect me? And I'm a young guy who probably will be asymptomatic, and if not, then I won't be in dire situation. Talk to Kevin Durant, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell. And then you're like, this may not affect me, but it will affect me if I don't play and get my money. So I think the money's going to talk.
Yeah, I think that right now they might not reflect the rest of the rank and file NBA players, but I do think they're on the right side of this issue in wanting to play. And that once you educate the rank and file on the severe economic impact, if there is no more product, no NBA playoffs, no more product this season, the economic impact, we've already heard from China, they're not going to broadcast NBA games in 2020. We've already heard that that's going to cost $300 to $500 million to the NBA. When you start talking about their television partners, ABC and ESPN here at home, and the economic impact of no future season, that Quinn Cook, a guy that's out of shape, guy that's making NBA minimum, guy that's making $2, $3, $4 million a year, eventually they're going to be educated to the fact that, hey, guys, we have to put some product out here. We have to be good to our television partners and to keep this business rolling. And so I think Chris Paul, LeBron, Giannis, and these guys are right. Maybe not everybody's on board with them right now, but I think once they're educated, Chris, I think they'll get on board.
And that's the thing. That's why this is so significant. Not that it's just a bunch of superstars took a conference call, but the fact that we all know, and, Marcellus hit it on the head. They have tremendous sway. And so when they go back to the rank and file, to the majority of the players, and tell them, look, these are the reasons why we should be trying to get this season back on board, and explain it to them. Even if you don't agree, it's going to be hard to go against LeBron. It's going to be hard to go against Giannis, Kawhi. And I heard Kawhi Leonard was one of the most vocal guys on that call. And so, that's why this holds tremendous sway. And it will go, they'll take this to Adam Silver, the things that they discussed in that call, and tell them, why they have them on board. And I expect it to be a ripple down effect in favor of playing from all across the board, from the league, ownership to the players. And when you got the main players on board, that battle was half over.
All right, another interesting wrinkle from yesterday. Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, we learned that he asked for assurances from the players that, look, if some people do test positive, we can't just shut down the league again. There's no reason to restart this if a positive test 2 or 3 or 4 is going to shut this down. So the commissioner, NBA owners are going to be looking for assurances from the players that, look, we got to keep this thing rolling, even if there are a few guys that test positive. Marcellus, you're a former athlete. Let's start there. Is this a fair ask from the commissioner?
I think it is. I love the fact that in situations like this, you try to uncover every stone. You try to just dig into every single detail and scenario and just see how people are going to act. I think that's the appropriate approach in terms of what they're going to go through. We just saw it last weekend with the UFC, where one fighter tested positive right before the fight, then 2 members of his camp. But they continued forward and they plowed through that situation. It's a reality. And in that situation, there were only potentially 24 fighters, 1 tested positive. What's going to happen when you have 450 basketball players and then all that comes with them in terms of manpower? You just basically are going to have to say somebody's going to catch it, if not multiple people. What are we going to do in that situation? Let's not wait for that moment to occur and then try to figure it out. So this is the next 2 to 4 weeks, the month of May, time for them to go to the whiteboard, think through every single situation and see how their players are going to respond. I like that more so than getting to that situation and then try to figure it out.
Now, this is the part where it scares some of the players, because they some of them view, I'm not going to say all, but some of them view it as, well, some of us will have to be sacrificed for the greater good of the NBA resuming. And that's not exactly what Adam Silver is saying, but he's trying to say that, if there are positive test scores, if test scores, positive test results, I feel like I'm back in school, positive test results, then, we can't just fold the season like that. We have to continue. And right now they're trying to put all different types of parameters and protocols in place to, if a player is tested positive when the season does return, figure out what to do. Are we quarantining him? Are we removing him from the quarantine city altogether? And so these are the things that's being talked about. But this is a pandemic that none of us has ever been through, and that's why it's so scary for a lot of people involved, including the players. That kind of talk concerns a lot of them. But I think Adam Silver is trying to say, hey, it's not the end of the world, and it's not the end of someone's life if they do test positive. Let's figure out how do we handle it moving forward.
Look, I will hope I'm going to measure my words properly because I want to be